Hello everyone, this is Perfect Preference and Extraversion. Mary Bly, a famous author, once said, "Dogs come when they're called. Cats take a message and get back to you later." Does your personal preference tell us something about you? Past research on this topic shows that dog people tend to be more conscientious, agreeable, and extroverted, while cat people tend to be more neurotic and open. These results are consistent even when controlling for gender differences when analyzing these results. Further research tells us dog owners have higher levels of social dominance. However, they view themselves as being less hostile than their cat owner counterparts. Despite these differences, it's been found that pet ownership, regardless of cat or dog, promotes prosocial behavior. So based on this prior research, we hypothesize that people who prefer cats over dogs will score lower on the extroversion scale. Our extroversion's conceptual definition would be sociability, dominance, and liveliness, and our operational definition of this would be total score on our extroversion survey encompassing all of this.
So do participants in our study really show a preference for cats over dogs? Well, after administering our survey to 44 people, we found a slight preference for dogs over cats, with 59% of participants disagreeing to some degree with the statement, "I enjoy spending more time with cats than with dogs," although the preference was not significant.
For total scores on preference for cats over dogs survey, 59.09% of participants scored 18 and below. The mean was 17.34, which is less than 50% of the maximum score they could have achieved on the survey, which was 35, meaning most participants did not prefer cats over dogs. Our second descriptive research question was, did participants in our study grow up with cats? In terms of whether participants had a cat present in their childhood home, 65.91% said yes and 34.09% said no. In terms of being responsible for taking care of a cat in a childhood home, 54.55% said they weren't and 45.45% said they were. In answering the question, did you have an emotional bond with a cat in your childhood, 61.36% said yes and 38.61% said no.
So does cat preference really correlate with extroversion? We found no statistically significant correlation between the two variables, according to the scatter plot. For preference for cats, we found a mean of 17.34 with a standard deviation of 7.48. And for extroversion, we found a mean of 24.55 and a standard deviation of 6.41. The effect size is very weak with a Pearson's R of 0.06, and there's a 72% chance that we got the results as extreme as we did if the null hypothesis is true. So the correlation might as well be zero.
Our original hypothesis was that those who had a preference for cats over dogs would score lower on our extroversion scale. However, with the data we have collected, we were unable to find a negative correlation, and in fact, we were not able to find any correlation at all. With no solid connections, we cannot reasonably say that there is a link between preference for cats and extroversion in their owners, and thus we retain the null hypothesis.
There are a few possibilities as to why we got the results that we did. While unlikely, there is a possibility that there really is no connection and that the prior research is wrong. Another reason we could have gotten the results is due to our sampling method. We would like to use random sampling if we were able to do this survey again. And finally, social desirability bias could come into play with people not wanting to admit that they feel more dominant over others.